Well, when we talk about exponents and polynomials, it's interesting to note that there's a lot of debate concerning the use of it in history, and it seems like the Babylonians, as far back as the 23rd century BC, were involved with using polynomials. As you study the history of mathematics, you would notice that different civilizations have had an impact on math. You know, the Babylonians, the Egyptians, the Romans, the Greeks, the Chinese, the Indians, and then, of course, later on, the Europeans. But math history is fascinating, and I would really encourage you to look back and learn from the history of math so that you can be inspired to do more in mathematics. I just want to give you a few examples of exponent properties as they relate to polynomials, even as we start studying the issue. When somebody tells you a to the third power, what they're saying is you write a times a times a. That's 3 a's. And when they tell you a to the second power, what they're saying is a times a. So you have a times a times a, and then for the a cubed, and a squared is a times a. So if someone were to ask you what is a cubed times a squared, what they're basically saying is a times a times a times a times a. And notice that all you do is essentially you can drop the parentheses and you would get a times a times a times a times a, which is the same thing as a to the fifth power. Well, here's what's interesting. If you were to just add these two numbers together, you would get the same thing. So a to the third power times a squared is the same thing as a, you have 3 plus 2, which is a to the fifth power. So now there's a general rule, and that's, you see, in mathematics we can come up with general rules that would apply in all situations. And so if we have x to the m power times x to the n power, if there are two things multiplying and they have the same base, then you can add their powers. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day as you keep working hard.